Hello students, welcome to this session. I've just solved this NEET test 79 and here is the analysis. This is a slightly tougher paper. I have regarded 7 questions as tough, 16 were easy, 22 were medium. In question number 26, I think there's a mistake. They have assumed it as atomic mass and written as nuclear mass. So it is a challenging paper. I don't think it would be that high scoring. So what I can say, not as tough as the yesterday one because of those errors. So I can say today anyone decent in physics should get 120 plus and a very good student should get 150 plus here score in this paper. So these two papers are now tougher. Yesterday's one was tougher, this one is also tougher. Today I am solving it late because after so many days I have slept for more than 6 hours in the night, and that's why I have solved it in morning right now. So keep sharing the channel. Thanks for watching. So let's begin. Calculate the energy of the reaction lithium plus proton gives to helium. If the binding energy of lithium and helium are this and this, then what we have, the energy of the reaction, basically what we can write, this energy of the reaction or the Q value or whatever you write, that would be equal to binding energy of the final products minus binding energy of the reactants. So proton is single, so it is don't have any binding. The lithium has the binding and this helium has. So finally helium we have, that is 2 into 7.06 into 4, that is binding energy per nucleon into number of nucleons, minus 5.60 into 7. So what you have, 8 6 are 48, 8 7 are 56, 56.48, and this is 7 6 are 42 and 4 goes there, 7 5 are 35, 39.2 MeV. That comes out as 8, 4 and 2 2, 16 and 9, that is 7, that is 17.28 MeV. That is the amount of energy that is going to be released. So it's option D. Next, work function of metal A is equal to the ionization energy of the hydrogen atom in the first excited state. That simply means phi of A is 3.4 eV. The work function of B is equal to the ionization of helium plus ion in the second orbit. I think this question has come just day or day before. The phi of B, helium plus in second orbit, means again 13.4 eV, because that would be not 13.4, sorry, 13.6 eV, 13.6 z square by m square, so that is 13.6 eV. Photons of same energy are incident on A and B. Maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons emitted from A is twice that of photoelectrons emitted from B. So for A, the Kmax would be energy of the photon, what we can say is E minus 3.4 eV, that is Kmax, that is twice of E minus 13.6. So what we have here, take this E and it comes out as 27.2 minus 3.4, that is 8, 6 and 3 3, 23.8 eV. That is going to be the energy. So energy is 23.8 eV. So we'll go for option A here. Small ball, this is again a repeated one. Mass m is suspended with a light inextensible light inelastic string of length L from A of same mass m, which can move on a smooth horizontal surface as shown. The ball is displaced by theta from equilibrium position and release. Maximum velocity of block during subsequent motion of the system after release of ball. So what we will have, the maximum velocity will come when we will have this position, and in this position what we can have, let's say if this has velocity Vb, this will have velocity Va, because there is no external force along horizontal and the Cm's x component of velocity initial was 0, so final will also be 0. So what we can say, mVa must be equals to mVb, because both have same mass, Va would be equal to Vb. And what we can say, the loss in potential energy by this time would be mg L minus L cos theta, that is the loss, that would be equal to gain in energy, which is half mVa square plus half mVb square. So I can directly multiply it by 2. So this goes, so V comes out as root of g L 1 minus cos of theta. So I'll go for option A here. So just remember here, don't go for option B, it is A, because both will get some velocity, because Cm x component won't change, Vx component will remain 0. Next, there are 5 balls at rest lying at equal distances in a straight line in GP with ratio 2, and the coefficient of restitution are each 2 by 3. If the first ball started with a velocity u, then the velocity communicated to fifth again. The similar question came before also, exact same came, sorry. So let's say first ball, second ball, let's say it mass is m, this mass is 2m. It comes with speed u, let's say its speed becomes v1 and speed becomes v2 after collision. So what we can write, first of all, from conservation of momentum, mu is mv1 plus 2mv2. So this is like this. So v1 I can write from u minus 2v2. This is the first equation. Second restitution equation says v2 minus v1 is 2 by 3 times u. So v2 minus v1, which is u minus 2v2, is equal to 2 by 3u. So what we will have, 3v2 is equal to 5u by 3. So v2 is 5u by 9. And because this equation will always hold for 2 and 3, you take u is equal to v2 and then find v3. So going by the similar logic, the factor remains same. So v5 would be 5 by 9 times 4 power into u. That is going to be option D here. Next, after fourth, a pendulum is oscillating with an angular amplitude of 90. If direction of resultant acceleration of the bob is horizontal at a point, then angle made by the string with the vertical is. So again, this is again repeated from some question, I suppose. Let's say this is horizontal, and let's say at some point the acceleration here is horizontal. So what I can say, one component is like this. This is at, which you all know is equal to g sine of theta, if I call this angle as theta. And one is like this. This would be what you call, this is v square by r, and what we have, it is now horizontal. So the resultant of the two vectors, if I am adding, it would be like this. So this is horizontal net acceleration. Now this angle is theta, so you are very much aware this is also theta. So what I can write, tan theta is v square by r upon g sine of theta. So what we can here, theta, tan theta is sine upon cos, so g sine square theta is v square by r into cos theta. And what is v square? V square, you know, is 2gh, and this h would be equals to r cos theta. So that is 2gr, that will cos into cos will become cos square theta by r. This goes g sine square theta. So what we have, tan square theta equals to 2, tan theta equals to 1 by root 2. That is equal to root 2. So if tan theta is root 2, so this would be root 3. So cos theta or sin theta, what we have, cos theta will be 1 by root 3. So theta would be cos inverse 1 by root 3. You can go for. Next, two particles A and B separated by a separation r from moving counterclockwise along the same path of radius r with speeds v. At t equal to 0, A is given a tangential acceleration of this magnitude in the same direction of the initial velocity. Then which of the following is correct? Okay. So they are separated by a distance 2r. That means both are diametrically opposite and both are going counterclockwise like this. This is A, this is B. Both are going counterclockwise in this way. Now, it is, let's say this is t equal to 0. It is given some tangential acceleration. Then when it will catch it. So first of all, convert it into a linear motion, and at will be simple acceleration in that case. So the separation with respect to B that A has to cover would be equals to this semi-perimeter, which is pi r, and acceleration of B with respect to A is acceleration of A with respect to B, sorry, it is, I am writing delta x of A with respect to B, and acceleration of A with respect to B would be A acceleration of A, that is 32 v square upon 25 pi r. Initial velocity of A with respect to B is 0 because both are having the same speed if we convert into 1d1, and we have to find the time. So just use the second equation because acceleration is constant. Pi r would be equal to half 32 v square upon 25 pi r into t square. So what we will have now, this is 32, this is 16, so t square would be 25 pi square r square by 16, so it's directly come out as 5 pi r by 4. So they will get to each other after time 5 r by 4. So this is 4v, sorry, so this is not correct. Angle covered by A. So by that time, what is the angle covered by A, you need to find out. So first of all, in this time, the angle covered by B I can find out. So angle covered by B would be, what I can say, angular speed would be v by r into 5 pi r by 4v. So it comes out as r and r, this is 5 pi by 4. So definitely covered by A would be pi by 2, pi more, that would be 5 pi by 4 plus pi more because it has to cover half rotation more, so it is 9 pi by 4. So option B is correct, so you can go for it. Next, two bulbs when connected in parallel to a source take 100 watt each. total power consumed when they are connected. So in parallel each was taking 100, so let's say P naught is 100 watt and the total watt in power would be in parallel was 200 watt. Now when in parallel the equivalent resistance is R by 2, and when they are connected in series equivalent will become 2R. So that therefore the series power, because resistance has become 2R, voltage is remaining same, that is 4 times, so that will become 1/4 of power in parallel, which is 200, that is going to be 50 watts. So go for option B. Next, in a given circuit the cells have zero internal resistance. Okay, the current passing through resistors R1 and R2 respectively are okay. So what you can do here, let it to be 0, this would be 10 volt, this would be 20, and this would be again 0 volt. Okay, just assigning the potential method 0, and this is 0, this is 0. So what we have, R2 there will be no current in it, and for R1 we have a potential drop of 10, so it will have a current of 0.5 ampere. So we'll go for option C here. Just simply assign the potential, you can easily get it now. Next, the variation of the induced EMF and the with time t in a coil if a short bar magnet is moved along the axis with a constant velocities. So you remember this, when it comes there will be a EMF induced, when it is inside completely there will be no EMF induced because no change in flux, and when it leaves there is also the EMF induced, but this and this will be in opposite direction because one time it is incoming, so change would be opposite, and here it is going, so the change would be to, let's say, again attract it. So the logic is there will be EMF induced initially and finally not in between, and both will be of opposite sign. So going by this, if you see the option, this A, this is wrong, same direction, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is only B which is the appropriate one, because the polarity has to be changed for the 2 times, and it has assumed that duration is very small. This part they have skipped. If it would have been longer, in between you will have 0 value also, EMF would have been 0 in between. So as per the option B1 is the most one appropriate. Next, for an ideal step down transformer, the quantity which is constant for both the coil is current no, voltage no, resistance no, power. For ideal what we have, power to be same, which is practically very almost impossible types. Two small identical spheres plus 10 minus 90 attract with a force F if they are kept in contact. So when they will be touched, because they are identical, final charges would be total by 2, that would be minus 80 by 2, that is minus 40 minus 40. So initial F was K into magnitude, I am checking 10 upon 90 upon D square. Now F dash would be K into 40 by D square. This was 900 K by D square, this would be 1600 K by D square. So basically the force will be increased. It would be, you can say the ratio 16:9 you can go for. Okay, next, the sketch below shows cross section of the equipotential surfaces of two charged conductors as shown in the solid black. Some points on the equipotential surfaces near the conductors are marked at A, B, C. The arrangement lies in the air. The surface density of the plate is equal to, okay, so these potentials are marked here. So some points on the equipotentials are marked. The surface charge density of the plate is, so near the plate you can see in this 0.3 meter gap you have this 10, 20, 30, 40. So by similarity you say its field is constant, so what we can have, E into 0.3 has a drop of 30, so E is going to be 30 by 0.3, that is 100 volt per meter. And because potential is increasing like this, that means the field is directed like this, so it has a positive charge, and that would be equal to, it is given as a conducting plate, so we can write this potential as sigma by epsilon naught. So that sigma would be equals to 100 into epsilon naught. Epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12, so it would be 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 10. You can directly write coulomb meter square per meter square, sorry. So this is question number 12. Next, two bodies 2 kg 8 kg separated by 9. The point where the resultant gravitational field is 0. Okay, so again this is 2 kg, this is 8 kg, this is 9 meter. Let's say it would be somewhere here, let's call it x, let's call it 9 minus x. So what we can have, the potential of the field to be 0, so due to 2 kg, g into 2 kg by x square would be equal to g into 8 kg upon 9 minus x ka whole square. So taking this 9 minus x upon x whole square would be 4, So 9 minus x by x equals 2, 9 minus x equals 2x, x equals to 3 meters from 2 kg. That is what we are getting here. So it is 2 meter from 3 meter from 2 kg, or you can say 6 meter from 8 kg. One. Next, what should be the angular velocity of Earth about its own axis so that the weight at the equator become 3/4? So g at equator you know is equal to g minus omega square r, so it becomes 3/4. So this becomes 3/4. G is g minus omega square r, so omega square r is g by 4. So omega has to be under root of g r by 4, so it has to be equals to under root of g r by 4, or you can say 1/2 root of g by r, sorry, not g r, that is velocity we have, that's I am written wrong. It would be, let's say, root of g by r. Wait a minute. So root of g by r. So now if you do this value, this comes out as half into g is what we have 10 and r is 6400 kilometers into 10 to the power 3. So it comes out as half into 1 upon 8 common and will have double 0. So that is 1 upon 1600 radian per second. So we'll go for option C here. Next, black body of 1373 degrees Celsius, maximum energy to this wavelength. What is the temperature of moon for which lambda m is this? So simply you know lambda mt is constant. This is the Wien's law. So 1.78 microns, I am not writing unit, it will cancel out. 13738, if you convert it plus 273, it would be 6, 7 and 7 14, and it would be 1646 would be equals to what we have. 1646 would be equal to 14 into t. So that t is 1.78 into 1646 upon 14. So if it comes in 14, let me check. So 1, this is 24 1, and then what we have this as 24 14 106. So 106, this is 98 is 7, and what we are left with 80. So 80 would be again 500, let's say, would be again 7. So it's approximately is 1.78 into 117.5. For approximation I can do it like this. So 18 5s are 90, 18 7s are what you have 90 and 36, that is 126 and 9 135, 18 and 13 31, 18 and 21, 211.5 degrees Celsius. That would be approximately what I can have. It would be minus, because I have taken it to be slightly larger. If I do this from 273 to 111.5, this is basically 5, this is 1, this is 61.5, so it would be slightly greater than it with negative sign, so it would be 63.7. I can go up from the available options. Next, Carnot engine operates with a source at 500, sink at 375, engine gives 600 kilocalorie heat per cycle. Heat rejected is, so what do you know, 1 minus Tc by Th is efficiency, that is W by QH, or you can write it as QH minus QC by QH, or you write it as 1 minus QC by QH, or directly you write QC by QH is equal to Tc by Th. That would be a better thing. QC by QH is Tc by Th. So what is QC here? Tc is 375, that is 500 into 600 kilocalorie. So this goes 5. This is 5. This is 75 into 6, which is 300. This is 675 into 6. Sorry, that is 300. 450 kilocalorie. That is going to be 450 kilocalorie. So go for option C here. So next we have 17th one. The pressure, volume and temperature of a certain metal are related by this equation, okay, of a material, sorry. The work done by the material at constant pressure when the temperature changes from T0 to 2T0 is. So for anyone we can write work is integration PdV. This is not for ideal gas, this is for everyone. So pressure I have alpha T square by V dV, that is what we can write. Alpha T square by V dV, that we can write. So this is P dV, and what we have a relation, we can have P is alpha T square by V. So I can write V as at constant pressure. So okay, pressure is constant, so it would be better if I let me do it this P dV. What I can write, V is alpha T square by P, so I can write dV is alpha pi P into 2T dt. So what we have, this P dV I have converted into P into alpha 2T dt by P, and this PP goes. So what we have, 2 alpha common, t dt integrate from t naught to 2 t naught, that is 2 alpha into t square by 2, that is 4 t naught square minus t naught square by 2, 2 goes, so 3 t naught square alpha. This is going to be option A, so you can do it like this. Next, consider a region of space in which a constant, uniform and mutually perpendicular E and B exist. Okay, now particle of charge q enters this region with velocity v which is perpendicular to both. If the velocity of the charge remain unchanged, you know v is equal to E by B first of all. So by this we have this what option we are left with, this one is wrong, this one is wrong. Now for this, and we know the direction of v should be given by E cross B. The direction of v should be given by E cross B, because one force is QE, one force is QV cross B. So we should have V cross B should be opposite to E. So V cross B should be opposite to E, that is what you have. So let's say if it is I cross J, so it should be minus K. So you can go for V must be equals to E cross B, because if you do minus K cross J, it would be the I cap. So it should be E cross B, so we'll go for option B here. Next, current carrying straight wire kept along the axis of a circular loop carrying a current. Okay, the straight wire, now because it is along the axis, you know along the axis what we have, the current carrying loop, this is the loop, the magnetic field due to this loop along this you say is along the axis, current is also along the axis, so there will be no force. This is a standard question, because here the current and field both are in same direction for the wire, so it would be 0. Next, a magnet of moment is kept suspended in a field, the work done in rotating it through 180 degrees. So we are assuming it is suspended. Initially it was in equilibrium at 0 degree, so work required would be what you can say mu b cos theta final, which is cos 180 minus mu b cos 0, minus sorry, so it will become plus because u is minus mu b cos theta. So it basically becomes 2 times mu b, so 2 into 5 into 10 to the power minus 5 into 4, so 10 into 4, 40 into 10 to the power minus 5 joules. So go for option A. This is a standard result, you all remember these things. Next, car accelerates from rest at alpha for some time, retards for beta for some time, at total time is t, then the maximum velocity is alpha beta t upon alpha plus beta t. I remember this question because I taught it so many times to the students. The way is go for VT curve. First it is accelerated, then it is retard. So let's say this time is delta t1, this time is delta t2. What you are given, total time delta t1 plus delta t2 is equal to t. Plus if I apply this uniformly accelerated motion equation, let's say from O to A, let's say this velocity be Vmax, I will have Vmax is equal to 0 plus alpha delta t1. So delta t1 can be written as Vm by alpha. From A to B I apply again this equation, final velocity is 0, initial is Vm, retardation is beta, time is delta t2. So delta t2 comes out as Vm by beta equals to t. Solve this, Vm comes out as alpha beta t upon alpha plus beta. Next, to a stationary man, rain appears to be falling at his back at an angle of 30 degree with the vertical. As he starts going forward with a speed of 0.5, he finds that the rain falls vertically. The speed of the rain with respect to the stationary man is. So what we can do here, initially it was falling at 30 degree to the back, that means it was like this. So this is velocity of rain, you can say actually with respect to the stationary man, you can say. Now when he started moving forward, then the velocity of rain with respect to men would be Vr minus Vm, so it is moving forward, so it would be like that, and this comes out like this. So this appears to be falling like this, so this angle is 30 and this is 0.5, so you can directly make out from the diagram that sine 30 degree is equal to 0.5 by Vr. So Vr comes out as 0.5 upon sine of 30 degrees, so that comes out as 1 meter per second. So velocity of rain with respect to stationary man would be 1 meter per second. Next, you have a liquid of density rho coming out of a hose pipe of radius a with a horizontal speed v and hits a mesh. 50% passes through unaffected, 25% loses momentum, 25% comes back with the same speed. I did this yesterday as well. So what would be F? So let's say if I can write 50% passes through, so no force, 25% loses, so 25% means 1 by 4 of dm by dt into v, that is the momentum change. I can write F as dp by dt. So I'm writing the momentum change. For 50% no change, for 1/4 it is PV mv, and for the remaining 1/4 it would be double because it is reverse. So that is 1/4 dm by dt into 2v. So what we have, dm by dt, and this will come out as 3v by 4, and dm by dt you know is equal to rho av, rho into dv by dt, which is rho av into 3v by 4, that is the force, that is 3 rho av square by 4. This is force. Now pressure is force upon area, so that comes out as 3 rho v square by 4. So this is option C here. Next, in the figure shown, all surfaces are smooth, acceleration of mass 4m when the system is released. Now here if you see, if it goes down by distance y and it has to come forward, let's say by some distance, let's say x, so this moves x, this will move x, this will move x, and this will move x. So to going down y, it needs y length of a string, it releases x string, but it again takes back x length, it releases x, it releases x. So overall what we can say, the total string released by this 4m would be 2x length, and that should be equal to y. So I can directly say 2 times acceleration of 4m would be equal to acceleration's y component of m. So m's y component of acceleration is twice the acceleration of 4m, and plus because it will be drifting it, so actual acceleration of y will have the of m will have both the components. So m acceleration would have the y component plus the x component, and I can give from logic a of x with of m is equal to a of 4m, because that would be same. So this is the first thing. So let's say, and let's call it a by m. So now applying the equation, first of all draw the free body diagram of this m. This is mg, and this is what we have t. There will be normal also, but I will take both as system for x-axis. So what I can write in y, mg minus t is equal to m times ay, and ay I can write it as twice of the a we are looking for. I am calling this as a now. So this is the first equation that I have. Next, if I take all these as a system, so this is internal, this is external tension, and this is external tension. This is basically 2t, because these two will cancel up. So that 2t, we have to take 4m and m along, that would be 5m times a that we are searching for. So what we can do now, multiply this whole thing by 2 and add up. So what we'll have, 2mg, 2t goes, this will become 4 pi plus 5, that is 9m times a. So a is coming out as 2g by 9. So the required value that we are searching for is equal to 2g by 9. It's a very good question for constraint. I think it would be tough for most of the students preparing for NEET. So that is what we were searching for. The acceleration of the mass 4m that we are searching is, this is coming out as 2mg by. Answer given by NTA is wrong. They have calculated that y component of the acceleration, which is 4g by 9, this is 2g by 9. Their solution also says this. Next, there is a stream of neutrons with a kinetic energy of this. If half-life is 700 seconds, what fraction of neutron will decay before they travel a distance of 10 meter? So what fraction will decay? So first of all, let me first find the speed. So speed would be half into 1.675 into 10 to the power minus 27 into v square is 0.0327 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Okay, so what we'll have now, v square is 2 into 0.0327 into 1.6, and this, let's say 10 to the power 8 I do upon 1.675. So what we are left with, now if you solve it, it approximately comes out, I have used calculator, I am telling you, I am not making that I have solved myself. From calculator, it's approx 625 into 10 to the power 8 I can say. So the v comes out as, you can say this would be into 10 to the power 4, because of that power thing. So that comes out as 2500 meter per second approximately. So it's not right to ask such question. Calculation is not that easy. Okay, now 10 meters, so the time taken would be to travel 10 meters would be 10 upon 2500, that is the seconds, that is 1 upon 250. 1 upon 250 is what we can write as 0.4 into 10 to the power minus 3 second that you can write. This is the time taken. Now fraction decayed, because this half-life is 700 seconds, this is very small, so I can write that dn by n that you generally write as lambda dt minus dn by n. So I can directly write that minus dn as delta n, that is lambda n delta t or dt, because this is like dt. So lambda would be ln2. Again calculation upon t half, which was, you can say, 700 into n. N was whatever be the, let's say, fraction is minus dn by n, leave it like that. It would be a lambda dt. Dt is 4 into 10 to the power minus 3. So this is, let's say, 1 upon 1000. So it would be approximately 4 into 10 to the power minus 6 sort of thing that we will have. Or you do it exactly, this comes out as, again, this is not right to give options like this, but they have given, I can't do anything. Let's say 4 3s are 12, 36, 37, 24. So it is 2.572 upon 700 into 10 to the power minus 3. So 2572 upon 700, this would be what I can say, if I am not wrong. Let me again check my calculation. 36. I was looking that I have done some mistake. Yes, 2.772. So it is 2.772. So if I do this, 2.772 divided by 700, it is 3.96 exact. So 3.96 into 10 to the power minus 6. Again, this is quite a close calculation. I don't agree with giving such questions unless you are asked to use calculators. This is actually not right. Radioactive element decays by beta emission. If the mass of parent or daughter are m1 m2, calculate energy liberated. So because it is beta emission, so what we will have, let's say this is xza, this is going into beta. Beta means this is electron, this is plus a neutrino, and what we can have, this anti-neutrino, and that we have this x. This would be z minus 1, and this would be a, that is z plus 1, sorry, and a. So what we will have, we are left with, if the mass of the parent and daughter nuclei are given, so the q value we generally write as mx minus my minus mass of electron into c square, because this is the initial mass, this is the final mass, so mass would be reduced. So mx minus my minus me. So this is, parent is m1, so that is m1 minus m2 minus mass of electron into c square, if this is the mass of the nuclei. If this is the mass of the nuclei, I can go for this. And if this is a mass of the neutral atom, then in that case that factor of electron comes again, and then we write it m1 minus m2 minus 2me electron. So this is when we are using atomic masses. Question says nuclear mass, but the option is not given because it is taken to be of the neutral atom, so it's not right. So I'll go for A, but that's not the right one. The correct answer would have been this one. Okay, next. A parent is subjected to 2 SHM along x and y direction according to the equation like this, then the correct statement is, directly you can make out x by y is 4 by 3, so it goes on a straight line path. So it will be on a straight line path. Next. One end of a long metallic wire, length L, tied to the ceiling, the other end is tied to massless spring of constant K, mass M, hangs freely, area of cross section are A and Y, that's slightly pulled. So both are in series. Basically what we have, this is the rod and this is what we have, the spring. This is K and this is also K dash, and both. So taking them in series, 1 upon K equivalent would be 1 upon K plus 1 upon K dash. And what is K dash? K dash is AY by L. So if you do this, this comes out as 1 by K plus L upon AY. So this is AY plus LK upon AYK. So what is the time period? Time period, you know, is 2 pi root of m by k. So put it as K equivalent, it is 2 pi under root m. This will come out as AY plus LK upon AYK. So going by this, it's clear, it's option B, that can be the answer. So B is the answer. Next. 29th. Given that the photon of wavelength 10,000 angstrom has an energy equal to 1.23, okay. When light of wavelength 5000 angstrom and density I naught falls on a photoelectric cell, the surface current is this and the stopping potential is this, then the work function. Again, this is of no use. What we can basically have, wavelength is half, so that energy would be doubled, it is 2.46 eV. And you are given a stopping potential, so phi would be E minus K max, I can write, and K max, if you know stopping potential, it would be 1.36, so it comes out as 1.10 eV. So go for option C here. Next one. You have a light of wavelength 488 nanometer produced by an argon laser used in photoelectric effect. When it is the stopping potential is this, the work function, again the same thing. What you have, first of all, energy of photon is 1240 upon 488. This is in eV. So if I do this, it would be 2 and 488. If I'll do 480, 480, 960, 976. So we are left with 24 and 240, that's 276, 2760. It's approximately, it won't be 6 times, it would be 2.5 something EV. And if I subtract this 0.38, so 2.5, it would be 2.55 from the option, I can make it out, and 5 is 0.38. So what is Kmax? Sorry, this is Vs, stopping potential. So Kmax is 0.38. So you can directly go for 5, again subtract both 2, this would be 2.17 EV. So go for option C here. Next, mercury drop 2 mm split into 8 drops, find the increase in energy. So what you can say increase in energy would be, final drops would be n into s into 4 pi small r square, initial was s into 4 pi capital R square, and going by the logic the mass remains same. So 4 by 3 pi capital R cube would be equal to 8 into 4 by 3 pi R square. So small r you can write it as R by 2, small r directly you will get as R by 2 because R cube by 8, R by 2. So delta U would be n is 8. So 8 into s into 4 pi R square is R square by 4 minus s into 4 pi R square. So what you will you are left with, this is s into 4 pi R square. You can directly go, s is 0.465 into 4 into pi into 2 mm, that is 2 square, 4 into 10 to the power minus 4. So do this. This is 16 into 0.465 pi. If you do 16.465 pi, pi is 3.14. So it would be 15 to 0.4, it would be 23 something, and if you do this calculation, it was 23.4 microjoule exactly. That is the result that will come for you, 23.4 microjoules. Next, okay, next one what we have is mercury is completely filled in a rectangular tank of height 72 centimeter. Atmospheric pressure is 72. Okay, find the distance in centimeter of point of application from bottom of tank of the net force on the inner surface of the side. Okay, so if we consider this side wall like this, let's say this is some width W and this is the height h to which mercury is filled. So let's say from bottom, if I go at any distance y and check on this small section, this small area, what I can write that df as, that df would be p naught plus rho g into h minus y, that multiplied by w into dy. That is the force that we are getting here. So effectively we have to find that the moment of that torque, basically at what point it acts or what is the basic height of that. So this is the df and df, so net force would be p naught w plus rho g w into h minus y dy, and let's say integrate it from 0 to h. So what we will have, rho this is p naught, sorry, not rho, this would be p naught wh because y it is wh, and this would be rho g w h square minus rho g w, and this will come out as h square by 2. So this is p naught wh plus rho g w, what we can write as h square by 2, and because p naught is rho g h, that is given, p naught is rho g h, so what I can write it as p naught wh plus p naught wh by 2. So what it comes out as, it basically comes out as this is 3 by 2 p naught wh. That is the force that we are getting here, or better would have been to calculate the torque itself. Now to calculate the torque, if I need to calculate, it would be r into df or y into df. So it will become p naught yy plus rho g w h minus y into y dy, and if I'll calculate again from 0 to h what the torque is, it is p naught w h square by 2. This comes out as p naught g w, again it would be, what we will have, it would be h cube by 2 or what, yh, sorry. So it would be wait a minute, let me do this. This is p naught g, if I do this, this was y, that is h, so I am h square by 2, that is right, and this would be rho g w into y. So rho g w into again h square by 2, and this would be rho g w, and what we will have, this will come out as rho g w h cube by 2, sorry, that was right, and this would be rho g w y cube, that is h cube by 3 here. Again going by the logic, what we will have, this is rho g h, not p naught, it is rho g h. So rho g h writing as p naught, so it is b naught w h square by 2. This is p naught WH square by 2, and this comes out as P naught H square by 3 that I'll get. So this would be what into W, so P naught W H square common, it would be 1 minus 1 by 3, that is 2 by 3. I can write P naught W H square. So what I can say, right, tau is equal to effective R perpendicular into F, so that R perpendicular would be tau by F, and if you do this tau by F, it comes out as 4 by 9. It will come out as 4 by 9. Do this 4 by 9 of H. So 4 by 9 of H. So H is 72. So 4 by 9 of 72, that is 32 centimeters. So it's a tough one. You have to be calculative. It is like the damn question that you must have done in some fluid section, but it's a tough one. Convex lenses in concave with concave lens, magnitude of the focal length is 2:3. The equivalent focal length is 30. What are the individual focal length? I did it yesterday. Again, let it be f1, let it be f2. So 1 upon f1 minus 1 upon f2 I'll write, because it would be negative, plus 1 upon minus f2, that is minus f2, that would be equal to 1 by 30. And what we have, f1 by f2 ratio is 2 by 3. So what I can write, 1 upon f1 plus 1 upon f2 I can write as 3f1 by 2. So it is 3f1 by 2, and it will become negative, that is 1 by 30. So 1 by 3 f1 is 1 by 30. So what you have, f1 is equal to 10 centimeter, and f2 you will come out as minus 15 centimeter. So this is minus 15 and 10 you will get. Next, a glass prism ABC immersed in water, refractive index 4 by 3, ray of light is incident normally on face AP if it is totally reflected at face AC. So it is TIR at AC, then so it will normally, so it will go like this. It is TIR, that means this angle is theta, this angle will also be theta. So this sine theta in limiting case would be, or it should be greater than equal to sine of theta C, I can write. So sine of theta should be greater than equal to sine of theta C. Sine of theta C would be here equals to 4 by 3 upon 3 by 2, that comes out as 8 by 9. So sine theta must be greater than equals to 8 by 9. This is option A you can go for. So it's an easy one. The figure looks somewhat tough. Now, solid sphere has MI I, it is melted into a disc of radius r and thickness t if the MI about the tangential axis is also equal to I. Again, I did it yesterday in some paper. So for the solid sphere, I is 2 by 5 mr square. For the disc, it would be about tangential axis would be mr square by 2 plus mr square, sorry, small r. Mass will remain the same. So it is 3 by 2 mr square, that is what we are writing, that is 2 by 5 mr square. So this r square comes out as 4 by 15 of r square. So r comes out as 2 by root of 15 of r. So go for option A in this case. So this was 35th. Next, ring of mass m, radius r has 3 particles attached to the ring. The center of the ring has a speed v0. The kinetic energy of the system is. So the center of the ring has a speed v0, that is you are given. Now the kinetic energy of the system is, because it is having a velocity v0, what we can write now. So kinetic energy, if I have to solve, well, let's say I am assuming the question says slipping is absent, so its angular speed omega is also v0 by r. So kinetic energy of the ring first of all would be half mv square beta, that is half mv0 square. Ring beta is 2, that is mv0 square. Now because it is pure rolling, I see about this point I can directly make out the distance here would be root 2r, the distance here would be root 2r. So its velocity would be here, it would be root 2 v0, its velocity will be here root 2 v0, and its velocity would be 2 v0. So the kinetic energy of the particles or system, if I write the first ring is mv0 square, for this one it is half into 2m into v0 square root 2 v0 square, that is 2 v0 square, plus for this half m into 2 v0 square again, and for the above one half m into 2 v0 whole square. So it is mv0 square, that becomes 4mv0 square, that becomes 2mv0 square, that becomes 2mv0 square. So this is 4, 2, 2, 1. This is what we are getting. This now comes out as 9. So, but option is not there. So let me check why I have done some mistake, I suppose. Yes, this is 2m into 2, not 2 square. So it would be 2mv0 square. So now 2, 4, 6, what we have 2. And this is mv0 square. I have done a there mistake also. It was half, sorry, half, this will cancel out, so it would be mv0 square. So 2, 3, 5 and now 6. So be careful in the calculation, don't do like me, I have done mistakes here, but it would be 6 mv naught square. I was lucky कि no option was there. Next, which of the following is not true? Resistance of intrinsic semiconductor decreases with increase of temperature. It is right, so it is not wrong, so it is true. Doping silicon with trivalent gives p-type, that is also correct. The majority carriers in n-types are holes, this is wrong, so we'll go for option C. This is also the question that came in JEE Main probably yesterday. Select the output Y of the combination of gates shown for this respectively. Then now A equal to 1, B equal to 0, so 1 and 0, this is a NAND gate, so it would be 1. So 1 and 1 NAND gate 0, so this is 0, so NAND gate it would be 1 for sure. So 1 0 will give us 1, so this is rejected. Now going for this, now check this for the second case, 1 1, so 1 1 will be 0, so 1 and 0, what we will have, 1 and 0 we will get it as 1 here, so we'll get it as 1 here. This is 0, this is 1, 1 and 0 will be 1, 1 and 1 will give me 0, so it will be 1 0 1 for sure. So only option B is okay, no, not B, 1 0, we're still left with C. Okay, 1 and 0. Now the last one, what you have, 1 and 0 and 0. So if it's 0 and 0, this will surely be 1. So 0 and 1, this will be 1, and this is again 0 and 1, this will be 1. So 1 and 1 will again give me 0. So go for D, not for B. So be careful. Next, coefficient of apparent expansion of a liquid when determined using two different vessels are gamma 1, gamma 2. If the coefficient of linear expansion of this is alpha, the coefficient of linear expansion of beta is going to be, again this is a question that they are giving every time wrong and wrong and wrong, but let me try what they are trying to say. So coefficient of apparent gamma 1, so gamma 1 you can say is gamma of liquid minus vessel A, that is 3 alpha, okay, and this gamma 2 would be equals to gamma of a liquid minus 3 beta. So what we have now in terms of what you need to calculate, we need to calculate the beta. So the linear expansion, let's say 3 alpha dash, not beta, beta is a different meaning, let's say this is alpha dash. So what is this alpha dash? I can write gamma 2, gamma L I can write as gamma 1 plus 3 alpha minus 3 alpha dash. So 3 alpha dash comes out as 3 alpha plus gamma 1 minus gamma 2. So alpha dash is alpha plus gamma 1 minus gamma 2 by 3. Okay, so what we are left with, this is option D. So there this time they have given it right, gamma 1 minus gamma 2 plus alpha. Next, the density of a liquid in CGS system is this, and what is this? I think they have printed it twice. Okay, what is magnitude in SI system? So in a SI system, what you will have, gram per centimeter cube. So you will write 1 kg is 1000 grams and 1 centimeter cube is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube. So this will be what you will have, 10 to the power minus 6, sorry. So what you will have, it would be multiplied by 10 to the power 3, so it would be 625. You remember for water 1 gram per centimeter cube, that is equivalent to 1000 kg per meter cube. You could have gone from there also. Next, in a YDSE, intensity at central maxima is I naught, I by I naught at a path difference lambda by 8. At path difference lambda by 8, the phase difference you will say is 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 8. So pi by 4. So I now we can write as I max, which is I naught cos square phi by 2 cos square pi by 8. Now what is cos square pi by 8? Cos square 2 theta is 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2, you remember. So it is I naught 1 plus 1 by root 2 pi by 4, that we will have upon, because it will be cos pi by 4 upon 2. So what you will have, I naught 1 plus, I can write it as 0.707 by 2. So 1.7 by 2, 1.7 is basically what you will have, 0.85. So go for 0.85 I naught approximately. Next one, this is 42nd. At polarized light, I naught incident on surface on a block of glass at Brewster angle. So reflected light would be completely polarized. So transmitted light is partially polarized with intensity I naught by 2. No, it would be reflected light is completely polarized and it will have an intensity which is going to be less than I naught by 2 in this particular case, because we don't know about this intensity thing, but we know reflected light is completely polarized. Out of the 4 options, only one is correct. So remember this, it might be intensity is less than I naught by 2, which we generally don't talk about, but we have gone only for complete polarization of reflected light. closed pipe, open pipe, same length, 2 beats per second when in fundamental mode. Okay, the length of the organ open pipe is now halved and that of closed pipe is doubled. The number of beats would be okay. First of all, f of closed, let's say f1, we can write it was v by 4l, and f2 of that open pipe was v by 2l. So definitely this was greater, and the difference is v by 4l, that was 2. That means f1 is 2 and this is 4. Now length of open is halved, so if you halve this length it will become 8, and closed pipe is double, so that will become 1, so the difference will become 7 hertz. So the difference would be 8 minus 1, that is 7 hertz. Again, this is a common question. Next, you have a fork of 480 producing 10 beats when with a vibrating meat string. What must have been the frequency if slight increase in tension produces fewer beats? So let's say it is 480, so we have two options. It is either 490 or it is 470. So if it was 490 and you increase the tension, the frequency will increase and the gap will increase. But here the gap is decreasing, so it is not the answer. So answer would be 470 hertz. Because if it is 470, then increasing tension will increase it to 471, 472 and the gap will decrease. Next, last one. A half a kg block slides from A on horizontal track with speed 3 towards a weightless horizontal spring of length 1 meter, force constant 2. Part AB of the track is frictionless, part BC has coefficient kinetic static like this. Distances are 2 and 2.14. The total distance through which the block moves before it comes to rest completely is. So now what we will have it. So let me assume first of all let it calculate till d. What would be the speed of it? Would be far better if we energy at d. So what I can write, kinetic energy at d minus initial kinetic energy would be equal to minus mu k mg into that distance, which is 2.14. So kd would be k initial is half into 9 minus, this would be 0.2 into m is 0.5 okay, into 10 into 2.14 that I am getting. So it is 9 by 4 minus what we can do. So this is mu k is 0.2 mg, and this is 5 into 0.2, that is 1 into 2.14. So it is 2.25 minus 2.14, that is 0.11 joule. This is the kinetic energy at d. Now the spring will be compressed. Okay, so let's say that moment when it comes to rest, let's say this distance is x more. So the work done by spring and the friction, the both energy, that is half into k, which is 2 into x square, plus the work done by friction magnitude I am taking because both will dissipate energy of that would be again 0.2 into 0.5 into 0.10 into x, that should be 0.11. So what we have x square, and what we get here, this would be x square plus x that you will be getting is 0.11. So x square plus x minus 0.11 is 0. If I do the calculation, x come out as minus 1 plus minus root of 1.44 by 2. This is 1.2. I'll take only the plus one, it is 0.1 meters. So it will halt here, and because the static friction value, if I take is the spring force at this instant would be kx would be 0.1 into 2, that is 0.2 newtons at this point, and the static friction value if I take, that will definitely be greater than, because mu k mg was 1, so it is greater, so it will halt there. So the total distance would be 2 plus 2.14 plus 0.14, so it comes out as 4.24 meters. Go for option C here. So this was today's paper. Thanks for watching. Keep sharing the channel.